And let's get started. So success is 90% how we think, 10% skill set. Skill set that I want to focus on today is understanding the market that you're in and understanding what your listing inventory needs to be and what you need to do in order to hit that number based on the market. I posted on Facebook this morning that listings in our market here in South Florida is down 62% in August compared to June and July. Now, what does that mean? And the next question would be, is it a trend? Here's what I think it means. What it means is you're going to see the number of sales, the number of properties that are going under contract, the number of properties that are closing are going to go down in the fourth quarter compared to record July and August closed sales. Now, don't panic because you're in control of whether or not you hit your goals. Remember, this is a choice. If the number of people who are selling their home decreases, then you just have to double down in order to go get more listings. If fewer homes are selling, then you have to double down in order to get your fair share. So I want to read to you what Gary Keller says about this, and I'm going to talk about inventory from my experience when I was selling real estate with the Deeds team. All right, so I'm on page 228 of the Red Book, and knowing the minimum number of seller listings you must list each month. The economic model of the millionaire real estate agent shows how to work backward from your desired net income to your GCI goals. From here, it shows you the number of listings you will need to close and even how many appointments you'll need to make to reach your goals. However, the real estate business is cyclical and markets shift. Keep in mind, guys, when Gary Keller wrote this book, it was 2001, 2002. We were not in a shifting market. Matter of fact, it would be 5 years before the shift showed up. And Gary Keller was talking about a shift. Visionary. So while the fundamental economic model remains sound, the key numbers are usually in a state of flux. What this means is that it will take on your part considerable attention to current market trends. We just talked about that a few minutes ago. What are the current market trends of the market that you're in? And don't just focus on record sales in June and July and August, or record sales in July and August. You need to dig deeper and pay attention to what's happening. If fewer people are selling their home, if fewer people are listing their home, that's a market trend that you need to pay attention to. And conditions to know how many listings you'll need to take in any particular month to meet your goal. In the classic words of Wayne Gretzky, I am a quote ninja, right? So here comes a quote. In the classic words of Wayne Gretzky, you must skate to where the puck will be, not where it is. In other words, your daily activities should be based on what the market's going to look like 90 days from now, not what it looks like today. If your daily activities are based on what the market looks like today, then you're going to find yourself playing catch up 90 days from now. If you stay on top of those key conversion ratios, appointments to listing agreements and listings taken to sales, you'll be better prepared to anticipate and react to market shifts. And you'll also be able to take the appropriate action. The action is increase the number of listing appointments, for instance, to keep your income steady. So in 2005, when I was selling real estate with the Deeds team on the west coast of Florida, we were in a market that was very similar to the market that we're in today. It's a hot seller's market. And here's what I found. When the inventory is 0 to 90 days, and remember guys, we have different markets here. if you're in South Florida, if you're in Broward County, if you're in Coral Springs, Parkland, like I am, then you know that anything priced below 500,000 is less than 60 days of inventory. Super hot market. Now, anything that's priced over 750 is starting to move to a buyer's market. And anything over 6 months or anything over $1 million is greater than 6 months in most areas. When somebody asks you how the market is, your answer should be, it depends. And why do you ask? Are you thinking of selling your home? Script. How's the market? Well, it depends. And are you thinking of selling your home? Now, it depends means location, what type of property we're talking about, and price. So in 2005, the market I was selling real estate in was very similar to the market that you're in today. And here's what I found. When there's less than 90 days of inventory, 90% of the homes that go on the market will sell. I hope you guys are taking notes because this is a super important formula to follow. When there's less than 90 days of inventory, 90% of the properties that go on the market will sell. The only reason a home doesn't sell when there's less than 90 days of inventory is it's grossly overpriced or condition of the property. Also, 50% of your listing inventory will go under contract every 30 days when there's less than 90 days of inventory. So in order to put one listing under contract, you have to take 2 listings. Simple enough. Now, the deeds team, in order to sell 5 seller listings every month and 5 buyers every month, we needed a listing to inventory of 10 homes in order to hit our goal. Now, if 90% are selling every month, practically every property listed is going to sell. So you just need to replace the 5 that are going under contract. And at a 75% conversion ratio, meaning from a listing appointment to a listing taken, I'll need to go on 7 list appointments in order to maintain my active listing inventory of 10 homes. So using the economic model, in order to achieve my goals, I now know how many listing appointments I need. In a market where the inventory is less than 90 days, I need to go on 7 appointments. Cool. Now, watch what happens when it becomes a buyer's market. When there's more than 6 months of inventory, only 33% of the properties that are listed are going to sell. When there's more than 6 months of inventory, on average, only 33%, 1/3 of the properties listed will sell in that 6-month period. And 20% of your listing inventory will go under contract every 30 days, not 50%. So in order for me to close 5 seller listings, I now need 25. I went from a listing inventory of 10 to a listing inventory of 25 in order to hit my monthly goal of putting 5 seller listings under contract. And knowing that 66% of those listings will expire, and that's approximately 3 per month, I will need to go on 11 listing appointments monthly in order to maintain my monthly listing inventory of 25 homes. So in a buyer's market, I'm going on 7 seller listing appointments a month in order to take 5 listings in order to sell 5 listings. In a buyer's market, I'm going on 11 listing appointments a month in order to take 7 listings in order to maintain a listing inventory of 25 homes in order to sell 5 listings every single month. The deeds team went from 20 active listings to sell 10 monthly. Now these are real numbers. In 2005, we had 20 active listings in order to sell 10 properties every month. And within 6 months, that number went to 50 active listings in order to sell 10 every month.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I was muted.
Okay. Now, pay attention, because history repeats itself. If this happened before, it's going to happen again. Matter of fact, when I was a listing specialist for the Gary and Nikki team back in 2003, 2004, before I started my own team in 2005, by the way, do the math, I started my team at a great time, right? That's sarcasm. I would listen to them talk about what the market was like back in the 90s when the Gary and Nikki team was carrying 70 to 80 active listings. And I thought, holy cow, that's just nuts. Because my biggest challenge as a listing specialist in 2003 and 2004 was trying to keep my inventory at 20 homes because they were selling so fast. I just couldn't imagine having 70 to 80 listings. And Gary kept telling us it's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. Sure enough, 2 years later, I looked up and there we were. History repeats itself. All right, take yourself off mute, talk to me, ask questions, ahas. What did you hear?
Price it for the market you're going, or the market that's coming, not the market you're in.
Great job. Yeah. And get really good. Remember, success is 90% how we think, 10% skill set. And one of the skills that you want to get really good at, Louise, is having these conversations with sellers when it comes to pricing strategy and helping a seller understand that even though their neighbor's home just sold for $600,000, just sold within the last 90 days, and the right price for their property could possibly be 600 or maybe 605. The right strategy to get their home sold based on the market might be to list that property at 580.
So the 14-point listing presentation, one part is the CNA and the supply and demand analysis.
Yeah.
And I've prepared the supply and demand analysis for these previous appointments, and it's not so great. Is that because of the market we're in?
When you say it's not so great, what kind of numbers were you seeing?
I'm seeing like higher months of inventory for the price points. Yeah. And I listened to, I participate in the call, then I listen to it and I transcribe it. And I kind of feel like one of them, you said this is more for the buyer's market, these percentages.
Yeah, so markets go up and markets go down. And I'm going to attempt to draw a picture for you. I hope you guys are able to see this. So
market stratas are different.
They are.
As John started off, the lower price market, hotter than all hot can be. Over yes. 600, it
yes.
shifts.
Yes. And Michael, here's what I want, the script that I want you to use. In a seller's market, the last property that sold creates a new floor, meaning the next home will sell for more money. In a buyer's market, the last property that sold creates a new ceiling, meaning the next home that sells will sell for less money. And the problem with most real estate agents is they don't know which market they're in because they're not paying attention, and they believe that every market is a great market. Therefore, we're going to price the property above the last property that sold. And if they're truly in a buyer's market, they've just priced the property out of the market. They're now fishing with their bait out of the water. So Louise, if I'm meeting with a seller and let me see, I'll hold it really close, right? Yeah, cool. And the market says we're here and we have more than 6 months of inventory. When there's more than 6 months of inventory, sellers are fighting for buyers. In a seller's market, buyers are fighting for listings. In a seller's market, buyers bid the price up. In a buyer's market, sellers bid the price down because they lower their price in order to attract a buyer. So if we're in a market that is trending down and the market says that your home is worth $600,000 today, more than likely 90 days from now, it might be 590. And rather than pricing your home at 600 because you can always lower your price and the buyer can always make an offer, go ahead and price your property at 590 today in order to beat the competition and price where the market is going. Want to get your home sold? Price it based on what it's going to be worth 90 days from now.
Hey, John,
Yes, Valerie.
if I lower my price, then the buyers are just going to offer me less.
Oh, I love that. This is a great role play. So Valerie, I would rather see you guys. Remember, always have 3 answers for every objection you hear, every question you hear. And do you think I've heard this before?
Of course.
Thousands of times.
Yes, no, and maybe.
It depends, right? Valerie, I would rather you see you get offers, negotiate offers, and tell the buyer to take a hike than not get in any offers. And price it for what you're willing to sell your home for. And then stick to your price. In other words, if the market says 600 and we price at 590 to get in front of the market, and you're not going to take a penny less than 590, then don't take a penny less than 590. But at least you have the opportunity to negotiate the offer or reject the offer.
I love it.
Yeah. When you price, here's another script. When you price for negotiation, and pricing for negotiation is pricing at 600 when the seller's willing to take 580. That's pricing for negotiation. When you price for negotiation, negotiation is what you get. Price to sell, not for sale. Do you want to, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do you want to price your home for sale or to sell? In order to sell your home, you have to beat the competition. There are currently 36 homes on the market right now, and 6 are selling every 30 days. Now, in order to sell your home, you have to be one of the 6 best properties on the market. And that means you have to be one of the 6 best properties on the market in condition and in price.
Hey, John, it's Jack
Michael
Smith.
Hotman raised his hand, and then I'm coming back to you, Jack. Michael? Yes.
When I'm putting together my comps for somebody, I actually put a secondary name on them. The active is my competition.
Mm-hmm.
And the sold is my support, just like you said. Because, and of course, then we look at what's sold as far as how do we price it for them.
Yeah.
But we also go, okay, how are we going to compete against these other things? And that helps you with your, I think, with your pricing on it.
Yeah, I love that. And just changing one word, how are we going to beat the competition?
Mm-hmm.
I think people are competitive. I know I am. And I know I want to beat the competition. And we need to help the sellers understand that all of those other properties that are for sale in their price range is the competition. And in order to get your home sold, we need to beat the competition. Now, the way you beat the competition is by having the nicest home on the market at the best price. Jack, talk to me.
Hey, this is a great topic that you're bringing up, and thank you. The thing that I got most from that you said this morning in the beginning was understanding the market we're in. And when we're going on some of these listing appointments, we're bringing all the stats and showing exactly what things have sold. And what is your comeback to somebody to say, well, let's just go a little bit higher? What I say to them is, listen, let's price it where the market is, and let's let the buyers chase our price, right? I mean, I don't know. You know, to me, it's a very difficult thing when people always, you know, they get greedy, for lack of better words. And I don't think that's necessarily a wrong thing. But when you get that objection, well, if that's sold for 150 and mine's brand new and has a new refrigerator, why should mine sell for more? Well, you know, just because they're a brand new refrigerator doesn't mean it's going to sell for more. We have to have an appraisal. So how are you dealing with that thought with people? Is that clear?
Ask great questions. I'm always going to ask questions because I want the seller to self-discover the right strategy to get their home sold versus me telling them the right strategy to get their home sold. Right. So Jack, I completely understand we can price at a higher home and we can always lower our price later on, or the buyer can always make an offer. And my concern for you is not that you're going to get less money for your home than you want. My concern is you might still be here 6 months from now and it's even less money then. So just out of curiosity, if you knew the market was going to shift and the value was going to drop, if you had a crystal ball and you knew the value your home was going to sell for $200,000, would you rather sell for $200,000 in 30 days or 6 months from now?
Yeah, great question. Great, perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Louise, here's how you determine the answer to your question, I lost it in the chat. How
So
do you determine the number of homes your home must be better than? So
Well, I
how
know
do,
population, I get that, but I just don't know how to say your home needs to be this number.
I'm going to tell you. You ready? So get out a piece of paper. I'm going to give you a math formula. A is the number of active listings within a 2 to 3 mile radius of the subject property in $50,000 price ranges. So in other words, the number of active listings from 350 to 4, or from 4 to 450. Because if I price my property at 375, my competition is 350 to 4. I'm not competing against those homes that are from 4 to 450. And if I price my home at 425, I'm competing with properties that are between 4 and 450. I'm not competing with those homes between 350 and 4. So active listings, A, is active listings within a 2 to 3 mile radius of the subject property. And if you're in a rural area where there's not dense population, it might be 5 miles. It just depends on location. Here in South Florida, everybody is on top of one another. It's 2 miles easily. So active listings within a 2 to 3 mile radius within a $50,000 price range. B is the number of homes that sold in that same price range within a 2 to 3 mile radius in the last 6 months. C is B divided by 6. In other words, how many homes are selling every 30 days? Well, B, there were 36 that sold in the last 6 months. So there's 6 selling every 30 days. D is A divided by C. So there are 36 active listings and there's 6 selling every 30 days. Then we have a 6-month supply of inventory. And in order to sell your home, you have to be one of the top 6 properties on the market. You're competing against 36 homes, 6 are selling every 30 days. In order to sell your home, you have to be one of the top 6 properties on the market. Now, if you were the buyer and you were looking at all of these homes that are on the market between 4 and 450, and 6 are selling every 30 days, would your home be one of the top 6 properties? You know, I understand, Jack, that you want to list your property at 405 because a buyer can always make an offer. However, if you had an offer on your home in the next 30 days for 395, no, I said 6, right? For 5, you want to list your property at 605 because a buyer can always make an offer, and you can always lower your price later on. However, if you had an offer for $595,000 in the next 30 days, what would you do? Now, most sellers are going to say, I would sell my home. Yeah. So just curious, do you have a better chance of being one of the top 6 properties on the market between 6 and 650, or one of the top 6 properties on the market between 550 and 600? Where do you have a better chance of beating the competition? Louise, did that help? I hope so.
She said thank you in the comments. She had to go.
Oh, okay. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Good stuff. All right. Give me a couple of ahas. It's 9:02. Time to get to work.
It's off the beaten path, but my daughter just came out. She started school today and she was listening to you and she had to answer a question on something. She's, can you help me? And she was like, how do you always have such a handling and everything that's asked? And I said, right here. And she was listening to you. She goes, that's why you listen to this every morning, to learn how to have objection handlers. I said, yes, that was really cool.
I love that. Cool. Floor. Oh my goodness. So good to have you on this call. Yes, you raised your hand. Take yourself off mute and talk to me.
I just want to thank you for this. This is my first time.
Yeah.
And I've heard of you through some of my agents. One of them even switched over to Keller Williams and then came back to me. But
I'm glad that you're here. And I hope that you got value today, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.
I did, and you got it. Thanks.
Yes. Okay, guys. All right. It's 9:03. Time to get to work, guys. Remember, 20 contacts a day. That's 20 conversations. The purpose of a conversation is to get an appointment, get a referral, or add somebody to your database.
John, somebody asked you a question real quick in the comments.
Yeah. Any suggestions for getting the high appraisal? I am meeting an appraiser today at 10. So Mindy, absolutely. Take comparables with you. And when you meet the appraiser at the property, you want to win them over as a friend. Be friendly, thank them for their time, always lead with gratitude. And the script that I use when giving comparables to an appraiser are simply, Eddie, I pulled some comparables for you just in case you want to use them. And if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call.
Doesn't hurt to ask if you could use them for appraisals as well, get their business.
True. Good stuff. Thank you, Alex. Okay, guys, 20 conversations, not 19, not 18, not 17. It's a standard. Don't settle. One of the reasons we fail is because we settle. We get to 18 conversations, we say close enough. Now, I'm going to ask you, if the 19th conversation that day was a $500,000 listing that you didn't get because you stopped at 18, how do you feel about that? It's 20 conversations, not 19, not 18. It's a standard to be face-to-face with a seller or a buyer every single day. And I'm looking for someone who's thinking of selling their home or someone who's thinking of buying a home. I don't care if it's in the next 30 days, 6 months, or a year from now. Because if a seller says to me, yep, I'm thinking of selling, it's only, however, it's going to be a year from now, my answer to that is, that's awesome. I'm going to be selling homes a year from now. I'd love to stay in touch with you in order to provide value and answer any questions that you may have. Okay, 5 handwritten personal notes. And here's the secret to success: follow up forever. Follow up without exception. We all follow up until we don't. The difference between success and failure is the individual who succeeds is the individual who never stops following up. Reject, rejection, no is not a word that lives in my vocabulary. We are not judged by the number of times we succeed, but by the number of times, I'll start over. We are not judged by the number of times we fail, but by the number of times we succeed. And the number of times we succeed is in direct proportion to the number of times we can fail and keep trying. Make it a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Good job.
John,